Hey guys, it's Alex. Today I want to talk to you about authenticity. This word gets used and misused all the time. There are so many definitions of it. People talk about it all the time, which is why I wanted to make this video and share with you some of my favorite definition of this word and kind of elaborate on what it actually means and how we can do things every day in our lives to be more true to ourselves or to be more authentic. So my favorite definition of authenticity is by Brené Brown. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. Why I like her definition is that she's pointing out that it's a daily practice. So you're supposed to be really patient with yourself. You're not going to wake up one day and feel like 100% authentic, right? So you got to be a little bit more authentic and true to yourself every day. It's not very black and white. It's a process to enjoy. It's not a destination to arrive at. So that's one reason I like her definition. And second, she's pointing out that there are two parts to you. There's a part that you think you should be, or you're supposed to be, or you're expected to be, and there's a different part to you. It's a higher part of you that's who you really are. And you gotta find that. You gotta discover that day by day. So, another favorite definition of mine is by Dr. Gabor Maté. He's just saying that we have two needs when we're children. One is to be authentic, another one is to be attached to our caregivers. So I will tell you what he says. He says, if you're forced to choose, most will go for attachment first, seeking approval and recognition from others instead of learning how to give it to yourself. So why is that definition so important? First of all, he's saying that you got to give yourself that recognition and approval instead of seeking it from others, right? And another reason is his definition helps me understand Brené Brown's a little bit more clearly, because as children, it's so important for us to be attached to our caregiver. It helps us survive, right? That's our basic need as children. We do anything to survive. But later on, when you're an adult and you make your own choices, you really should stop playing that card anymore. Like, you know how to survive. You've already survived. You should be thriving when you're in that age of, I don't know, if you're in your mid-20s, 30s, 40s, right? You should really find who you are. You don't need to be attached to someone all the time in order to survive. You're going to help yourself survive. So this brings me back to Brené Brown's point, where she's pointing out there's a part of you that's a higher part of you. This is who you really are. You're going to find that. And also remember, maybe when we were children, our parents didn't like the artistic sides of ourselves, or maybe they wanted us to be someone they wanted to be and they couldn't achieve that, so they're gonna live vicariously through us. It's not just parents, by the way. It depends on the culture you're in. Some more collective culture, you're given a role. It's about the person you're supposed to be, right? Or later on when you go to school, some people go to religious schools or really strict schools, and that also might or might not help you find your real self, right? Or later when you go to work, maybe because of the money or to pay the bills, not every task you do every day is coming from that authentic part of you, right? There's parts of the work that you do that you might not really enjoy doing, right? The key here is to understand, yes, when we were children, because the need for attachment was more important, then we gave up part of our authentic selves. But you have a lifetime to find that. it's a daily practice. So every day, you got to really tune in and ask yourself, what do I enjoy doing most? When am I most true to myself? So this brings me to my last point. I want to talk to you about this fascinating concept in engineering. If you're a computer programmer, electrical engineer, you've probably heard this, but I will explain to you what it means a little bit more clearly and at the very basic level, because I don't want to get into the technical part. I want to talk to you about the power of this metaphor and how we can relate it to authenticity. So in programming or in electrical engineering, we have a signal we work with. We can use the signal and get an output, or programmers use the signal to manipulate it in a way they want to get a result, right? So signal is something we want to be clear. We want to know precisely what the signal is. However, we don't always have a clear signal. Sometimes there's noise, right? The background noise or the noise that's surrounding the signal will be a big obstacle to work with this signal. So we want to always increase the signal, have a clear signal, have a precise signal, and have less noise. If the noise cannot be completely gone, we want to minimize it as much as possible. So let's suppose the signal is your authentic self, something that's coming from inside of you, right? And the noise is other people's expectations. It might be something that you do out of guilt, shame, or insecurity. So we want to kind of work with these two variables, right? So I will explain a little bit more clearly using two different opposite words maybe. So if you're tuned to your signal, you're doing something out of aspiration. You are inspired to do it. You wake up excited. But when you're tuning into the noise, you might listen to someone's expectation, right? So you might do it out of guilt. You might do it out of duty. You're not excited when you do it. You're not being pulled, pushing yourself to do it. You might not be as fulfilled. You might be a little bit more insecure. You're not as confident. So it's fulfillment versus insecurity. It's confidence versus fear, guilt, shame. Love, joy is your signal. You do it out of love. You do it out of fulfillment, as opposed to when you do it out of expectation, really. Why is the noise sometimes very strong, by the way? And what can you do to eliminate or minimize that noise as much as possible? Well, it goes back to Dr. Gabor Maté's definition. It depends on when you were doing things out of survival. How often were you actually following someone else's expectation in order for you? Maybe their intention was good, to protect you, to maybe help you survive and thrive in the society that you were living in, or in a school that you were attending, and it was important for you to be a high achiever, get good marks, do really well. But the noise can be very strong if you were in a very strict environment where you might had to hide that part of you that gave you joy. You might have to do it secretly behind closed doors, maybe play that guitar or learn something on a computer or read a book that nobody approved of, right? So the key is, remember, it is a daily practice. So if that noise is strong, be really, really patient with yourself. And next is, there are things you can do to help you tune in to your signal. I can tell you a few practices that help you with this, but I like to hear from you. Why don't you leave a comment down below and tell me, what is it you can do today, that first tiny step maybe that you decide to do today to increase the signal to noise ratio, have more signal, more clear signal, and less noise. What is it? So leave a comment down below. Please like this video if you enjoyed the content, share it with others who might find it useful, and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thank you.